And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday to you. And if you're on the other side of the planet, happy Sunday to you. I apologize about the delay. I had some personal things that I had to take care of, and they needed to be taken care of immediately. But we're here and we're ready to go. We've already got 68 people here, so that's great. We've got Leslie Kings, and I thought Julie was here somewhere. She might be here somewhere, and she is, I think, here somewhere. And we were going to start today with the meditation and some music with Leslie. So we'll get that started in just a moment. And let's see, what else do I got? Anything I want to say? If you want to join me, all you have to do is go to Zoom and click join a meeting. Then if you look in the description below, what you will see is the room ID. So you'll enter that when it asks for it. And then you will enter the passcode, which is also below. And then you can join. So that will be ready to go. And I'm just waiting for a couple more people to get here. And we'll see when that happens. And while we're waiting, below in the description, there's also a link to the Discord. So you can join us or join my Discord channel, or Discord server actually is what it's called. And it's kind of like Facebook, but a little bit different. And you can sign up you go to discord.com to sign up for a free account. Once you're there, then you will use my link in the description below to join the server. And then you can hang out, you can chat with other people, you can post stuff. It's basically not regulated except by the members. So if you want to hang out with like-minded people, it's there for you. Also, there is my personal Facebook page, and my name is Jeff Reynolds. Mara is my dear wife, and she's the unseen part of this podcast, a very important part, so that's why it's called JeffMara Podcast. But anyways, my name is Jeff Reynolds. You're welcome to friend me. I'm adding friends until I hit 5,000. The JeffMara Podcast Facebook page is there, and other stuff. So, anyways, let's bring Leslie in and we'll see what's going on. So let's see, Leslie Kings. Let's see where he's at. Leslie.
Hello.
Hi, Leslie.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes. Oh,
Happy Sunday to you on your side of the planet.
Yes, this is true. It's a happy day today.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice. Your mic is coming in nice and loud. Usually it's hard to hear your voice, but today we can hear your voice solid.
Yeah, I try to do two things a little bit higher, a little bit closer. So
That's great.
It's just very close to me right now.
I'm happy that I don't have to struggle to hear you anymore. So that's perfect. Now, is Julie going to be joining us?
Yes, just a moment she just on the line with WhatsApp connection. I'll try call up to her.
I was late getting started, so I can understand why,
Yes.
what's going on. Now, you sent me the pictures when you used to play rock music. Were you in a band? And if so, what was it called?
Formula One, what is in English Formula One.
Formula One?
You don't know the word famous Formula One band? I'm joking. Yes. Yes, that was very, very good. Rock band, long hair.
Yeah. That's great.
That was very good.
I'm going to answer Fuzzy Joy. I do have Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. Let's see. Twitter, I think, is JeffMara Podcast. Or I think it's like that, or JeffMara P. I'm not sure about that. Instagram's probably JeffMara Podcast, and TikTok is also JeffMara Podcast. In case you can find those, they're all there. All right, so we're waiting on that. Let's see, what else do we have to go? While we're waiting on It's Julie, right?
Julie said, I am waiting room, Jeff's under light. Her name is Light
Oh,
Beacon.
Light Beacon.
Yes.
There she is. Okay, we got her. Hey, Julie. Can you hear us? Oh, she's connecting. She's connecting to audio. Okay, great.
Hola!
Hello. Well, you made it. All right. Great to see you.
I love technology!
Mm-hmm. That reminds me of Napoleon Dynamite. Have you seen that movie?
No.
Oh, it's a crazy movie. Very funny. And at the very end, he's singing about how he loves technology.
Oh.
I'm sure somebody in the chat has seen Napoleon Dynamite. And
I like him.
And the ending part. So, do you turn on? You got your keys ready?
I think so, it's working.
He's got his keys. Julie, are you ready?
Sure.
Is everybody in the chat ready to just take a 5-minute meditation? See if we can raise our energy, raise our vibration, so we can have an amazing podcast. Maybe we can attract a lot of positive energy and make, something miraculous or special will happen. Where did you go, Leslie?
I'm just not important, more important for Julie and music. If you want, you can put maybe the keyboard. People can see what's going on.
All right, let's see your keyboard. Let's see. Leslie Kings. Which one? Oh, okay, you muted it. All right, great. All right. So whenever you are ready, I'll let you guys start. Wait 1 second.
Okay.
What am I doing here? There we go. All right.
Good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll just take in 3 deep conscious breaths to center ourselves. Get present. And tonight we're going to imagine that we are a star. And if we can't imagine that we're a star, we can pretend like we're looking up at the stars on a beautiful, clear night. And as a star, we're up there and we're shining and we're nice and warm. And we're surrounded by all of our star friends up there. And the interesting thing about being a star is that we always show up. They're always there. They never ask themselves, do I feel like being a star? Do I feel like shining tonight? No, I just show up because I'm a star. And as a star, that's my job, is to shine bright. So I show up. And as a person, really all we have to do is just show up and be ourselves, just like a star. That's our only job, is just to be ourselves. So we can show up and be ourselves. And if we ever have any doubts, we can look up at the stars for reminders. They never fight about space. They don't beat each other up because one star has another one star's position. There's lots of room. There's an abundance of space, an abundance of stars. And there's an abundance for every single one of us. We don't have to fight. We don't have to push each other out of each other's way. We could just show up, shine bright, and be the stars that we are. You're a star. Shine bright.
All right, everybody. I hope you raised your energy there. Julie and Leslie, thank you so much for that beautiful meditation. I really appreciate you guys.
Stars can be silent in the end too.
As long as we're shining, that's all that matters. Now, I want to let you guys know that, well, I don't know for sure. We'll ask Leslie right now, but for the past few weeks, after we finish the podcast, you can go hang out with Leslie and listen to him play some music and still, keep chatting with each other and having a good time. Are you doing that still today, Leslie?
Yes, definitely. I very, very welcome everybody. After when you've totally finished your podcast, I'll be online for 30 minutes and play for your audience by my heart channeling music.
All right. And Julie, what is your YouTube channel?
Light Beacon.
Light Beacon. So if you want to know more about what Julie's up to, check out her channel. I forgot, what do you do? What kind of content are you producing on your channel?
I mostly do put up Bashar stuff because I love Bashar, the quasi-physical that he is. And then I post some random me stuff.
Oh, that's cool. What you're just like, you talk about does Bashar have books or what?
No, he does just like the recordings and stuff. So I just started, so I'm trying to figure out how to. My video is awful. Heads up, everyone.
Oh.
Like horrible recordings.
Wow.
Camera, really for real. Audio. Mm-hmm. But I'm learning.
Now, didn't you just recently interview Leslie?
Yes, I did last night.
So if you guys want to know more about Leslie and his musical past, go check out her video.
I'll interview you, Jeff. I'd love to do that.
Well, thank you. Actually, right now, it's pretty often I get asked or, people request interviews. And at this moment, I've just been declining all of them. But if I start doing them again, I will visit your channel.
Okay. Well, we'd love to know more about you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. We will see y'all later.
God bless you.
God bless you. There he goes. All right, so we got PD Pete here. PD Pete has been spearheading the project for us. So we want to see what PD Pete is up to. And let me take out. There it goes. What PD Pete's up to? Is it?
Hello.
Hey, Pete.
Hey there, Jeff.
How are you? Nice to see you again.
How are you?
Nice to see you. How's the project coming along?
It's coming along well. I think we're at around maybe 120 time-stamped episodes so far.
Great.
But actually, I just wanted to come on and share an experience tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, well, what is it? Tell us about it.
I wanted to share a time where I felt that I was contacted by a divine entity.
Okay. How did that happen?
Well, I guess I should start off by saying that my wife is Indian, and shortly after we were married about 20 years ago, we took a trip to India to visit her family. And this was back in the days when I was in my 30s and I didn't really believe in all this spiritual stuff and all. That only kind of happened to me in the last year or two with watching all these NDE videos and stuff. But I was kind of open-minded on the fence about it. And so she took me to a temple when we were there. We were in the Tamil Nadu region of India in the southeast. And at this particular temple, you know how the elephant is a holy animal in Hinduism with Ganesha and everything. So at this particular temple, there was a priest standing outside the temple, and he had a real elephant with him. And what you could do is, if you wanted to get a blessing from the elephant had the 3 lines painted on his forehead, which represent in Hinduism, I believe, the 3 levels of reality or something like that. And the priest also had the 3 lines on his head. But anyway, if you wanted to get a blessing from the elephant, you could give the elephant a coin or some money, and the elephant would take it and hand it to the priest, and then the priest would tell you to bow your head, and the elephant's trunk would touch you on top of the head, giving you a blessing. So I thought that was cool. So I went, I did it, I gave the elephant the money. He said to the priest told me to bow, so I bowed down. And I thought I was gonna get this like little gentle touch on the head, but an elephant's trunk is really heavy, and it was like boom, you know. Anyway, it was kind of a cool experience. And if anyone has not been to India and you're very spiritual, and that's definitely something you should put on your bucket list. So anyway, that's just the preface to what happened to me a few years later. One night I was having a dream, and it was a really bizarre dream. I was in the middle of this jungle, and I was like almost completely naked, except I was wearing a loincloth.
Okay.
but not like a Tarzan loincloth, like of animal skin or something. It was like a white cotton, almost like ceremonially wrapped. If there is such a thing as loincloth formal wear, that's what it was. And I was like barefoot. I just was in the jungle, and then suddenly I hear this rumbling noise, and I look to my right, and there is a giant elephant charging at me. So I'm freaking out. So I turn to run the other direction, and there's another elephant in the opposite direction charging me. So then I go left, there's another one coming, and I go right, and there's another one coming. So now I have 4 elephants charging me from the cardinal compass points, right? And I'm just completely vulnerable. Like I said, I'm not even wearing clothes except for this weird loincloth thing. And there's nowhere for me to go. And I'm looking, they're coming, they're rumbling. And these things are huge, man. They're not normal elephants. They're like even bigger than, they're like, I don't know what you would call them, but they're just like slightly bigger than regular elephants. And there was nothing for me to do. As they got closer, I just kind of balled myself up on the ground and waited for death. And suddenly there was like silence. And so I looked up from, amongst the giant green leaves, and I was terrified. And I looked up, and there right in front of me was this huge elephant head just looking straight at me. And what it had done is it had stopped in front of me, and like, how they kind of like kneel down and sit?
Mm-hmm.
It had stopped and like kneeled down in front of me, not submissively, like bowing its head or anything, but just kind of kneeled down in front of me, looking at me. And I look to my right, my left, behind me, and all 4 of them are like that, kneeling and staring at me in this perfect, like 4 compass point directions. And then suddenly I woke up. And now this is the weird part. You know how in all these NDEs that we listen to, they always talk, not always, but like one of the things they say a lot of the time is when they're over on the other side, they experience like indescribable love and feelings of love. Mm-hmm. But the other thing, almost like maybe like the second most frequent thing that they say is when they encounter God or the light or something, is that there's a feeling of undescribable peace or calm or tranquility. And now this was like, 15 years ago when I didn't know about NDEs or anything. But I woke up and I told my wife about the dream and all, and she was kind of impressed by it. But the weird part was, for the next 3 days, I had this bizarre supernatural peace or calmness to me. And I was busy. I was like, it was my busy season. I was renting apartments. I was renovating things. I was cleaning stuff. It was busy, and nothing got to me. It was impossible for any stress to touch me. It was impossible for me to be upset about anything. It was impossible for one worried thought to enter my head. I was like bulletproof. I just was completely serene for 72 hours after the dream. And it was bizarre. I didn't back then I didn't have any inkling. I mean, I thought, maybe something about Ganesha, and it was a godly, it felt like, not a normal dream. But now, being someone who's watched all these NDEs and all, and I hear them talk about, oh yeah, when you're over on the other side, there's this incredible feeling of calm and peace and serenity. So now, looking back on that experience after having watched your show, I feel like I got a little tiny taste of that divine serenity in that dream.
Do you think that you could have been Hindu in a past life, and that's why this came to you as in the form of elephants?
I don't know. Or, maybe that when I gave the elephant that coin, he was like, well, I owe you something. I don't know. Maybe.
You're married to an Indian woman now,
I am married to an Indian woman. Yeah, I've got a nice Indian mother-in-law, a nice Indian brother-in-law, 2 little Indian kids.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm Greek myself, but yeah, I just wanted to share that. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It made me think, have you ever heard about this ancient Greek thing about dreams where they say I think it was from Homer, said there are 2 kinds of dreams. They would say one type of dream comes through the gates of horn, the gods send it through the gates of horn, and one type of dream the gods send through the gates of ivory.
No, I haven't.
And, I forget which is which, but I think, and I could be reversing it, but I think the gates of ivory are normal dreams, and the dreams that the gods send through the gates of horn are true dreams. So for me, whenever I've had like sort of psychic experiences, they've happened to me in dreams. I think that's kind of like my strength when I try to do dream work and I keep a dream journal. Eventually I get like some kind of a special dream. And anyway, I just wanted to share that thing about the gates of horn and ivory, and I wonder if anyone else has heard about that.
Well,
that's it. Yeah.
I appreciate you coming and sharing, Pete. And I appreciate you coming and sharing. And to me, your dream could have been. I think dreams are still somewhat a mystery. I mean, no one knows exactly what's going on in dreams, and that may be the way that you have spiritual connections, or you're having some kind of out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming and chatting with us and sharing. And again, if you guys, let me just remind everybody. So what Pete has started for us is that we're trying to catalog all the NDE videos and subjects within the NDE videos. Therefore, I can make videos that are collections of subjects. Like I could have multiple people say, I saw an angel during my NDE and it was 7 feet tall. And then I go to the next person saying, and then the next person. So having people repeat themes in their NDEs over and over will be real fascinating to see.
And compelling, because it's like NDEs don't know any, race, creed, lack of faith, a geological, a geographic location. Like it's all kinds of people, which is what is, when you hear them all saying the same thing back to back like that, it's really hard for mainstream, like materialist academics to deny that there's got to be something there,
Yeah.
So yeah, if anyone's available, we're still looking for more volunteers. If you want, just get on the Discord. You said the link was below, and look for the little channel that says timestamp JMP timestamp master list, I think is what it's called, and we're on there, and we can show you how to timestamp an episode and put the categories on. And eventually, if we get like a big database of them, 400 of them or so, like I said, we're up to 120. If we get, a big database of them, Jeff and Mara can make some really cool, really compelling videos to illustrate the reality of the NDE.
Right. Pete, thanks again, bud, and thank you to all the people that are assisting Pete with this giant undertaking. I really appreciate you guys, and I wish you guys the best.
Thank you. We appreciate you too.
All right. Have a great weekend. Oh, and I got to give him a round of applause. All right. So Angie. Now, Angie was a guest of mine. And I believe she's from Australia, and we talked about her NDE, and it's been a while since I've seen Angie, so I don't know what she's up to. It'd be interesting to catch up with her and see how she's been and what's new for her. I should have told him, asked him if he drinks chai, because my dear wife makes delicious Indian masala chai. I wish I could kind of make you see it, but I can't. But that's what I'm drinking today. And most of the time I'm here, I'm drinking chai. And she learned from her Indian friends when she was living in Armenia. Yeah, when she was in college, there was a lot of people from India went to Armenia to medical school, and that's where she befriended them. All right, there's Angie. We just don't have her sound on yet. So let me tell her that it's probably going to be connected by the time I pull it out. Angie, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Angie. Long time no see. How have you been?
Really good.
Great to see you again. You're in Australia, right?
I am.
Okay, I was pretty sure of that, but I just wanted to check up. And we did a podcast together. Do you happen to know what number it was or what the title was?
I'm not sure.
But
a long time ago.
You did have an NDE, right?
Yes, I did. Yep.
It looks really chilly down there. You have that comfortable, cozy coat you're wearing there. It's winter time or what?
It is. Well, it's coming into winter, so we're having like super hot days and then freezing cold, and that whole change going through. So yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, I thought I had a guest recently that knows you personally. Is that true? Did one of my guests that are friends of yours? Was there a friend of yours that was one of my guests recently, or no?
There was a Nellie. I know Nell.
Nell,
she's a psychic.
Yeah, I had her on about the same time I had you. I think I had her with him like a week or two after you. But I thought maybe the person knew Nellie then. But there was somebody recent that's either friends with you or Nellie, and I can't remember which one. I think it's a male. Right. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, look, I know lots of people, but I try to keep up with your videos. But sometimes I've missed a couple. I may have missed that one.
That's okay. So what do you have to share with us? Did you have another NDE?
No. I thought this chat room was where we could come and watch. And
you're here live with the world. Okay. It's just you and me, and it's you and me and 232 other people.
Oh wow! Sorry, hi guys.
You didn't realize you're here, so I just bring on people one at a time. You were next in line. I brought you here. Well, let's just remind people, so maybe people can go check out your podcast.
Sure.
How did you, can you give us a 5-minute version of your NDE?
Well, my NDE was I had tonsillitis, and I went into a place. I wasn't sure if it was an NDE at the time, but I got to travel to lots of places and have lots of discussions about my past and why the trauma happened to me and what I was here to do. And it was a beautiful journey. But I probably more relevant today is learning to use our gifts to just move through that veil that we have. So it's a very thin veil, and being able to hear animals and hear people, and these connections with the other worlds are actually available to every single one of us. And it's really just about keeping ourselves open and keeping ourselves as a clear vehicle for these to come through. So when we're troubled with stress and fears and self-judgment and things, we can't hear, because it's like, if you imagine that you're making a telephone call from the bottom of a high rise to the top of a high rise, and there's lots of wind in the tunnel with the cables going up, it jangles them, and so you can't hear properly. But when you really still yourself and keep your mind still, you actually get a very clear connection. So my connection through life has been with animals. I connect with animals all around the world, and I think we spoke about in that podcast about one particular horse that's contacted me from over in Europe, from Austria, to tell me it was in danger, and to contact its owners and get her to run down to the field. And I was feeling the pain of the horse, and you know, I do that all the time now in my work. So I work with animals now full time, and it's really been a connection where they keep saying, you know, look, you can play in corporate all you want, but you know you can do it. You know you can do it on your ear. So now you need to go and do what you came here to do. And finally, they made it to the point where I have no choice but to do what I do. So
that's
yeah.
amazing. I had forgotten. I mean, please don't be offended. I've probably had about
not at all.
200 guests to 300 guests since
Absolutely.
I've seen you last time, but
Yeah.
I had forgotten all about that contact with the horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
just kind of go into a meditative state in contact with like any pet?
Look, I don't get to choose. I just get told. So, for example, I do daycare now, and I work with specifically, you know, dogs that are super anxious or traumatized or, you know, in great need. And I work with them to bring them back to a stable state. And, you know, I've had dogs come here, and I've had one owner come to pick up her dog, and you know, she's sort of very abrupt about what he's doing, and it just came out of my mouth, and I said, have you been suicidal lately? And she just stopped and went, yeah, I
Wow.
have actually. And I said, well, that's his problem. I said, he is so stressed because he's come here to watch over you, and where you're at is you know, he's trying to take in absorb as much of the dark as he can and bring as much light in as he can, but it's that's where he's at. And so her and I ended up talking for about, you know, an hour on the stoop, and you know, she was able to change that and understand why the dog was here. So he became less of a, you know, I'll hug you when I need you, but right now I'm too stressed to deal with you, you know, just get out of my face, stop trying to sit on my knee, you know, stop trying to do this. And so their dynamics changed. But so these are things that just sort of download, I guess. So, you know, whether we call them aliens or supernatural or angels or whatever it is, it's just, to me, it's they. And so that's what happens in my world. You know, I get told, you know, a horse has a sore tummy, and it's here, and I'll feel the pain, and then I'll kind of see a color, and, you know, that type of thing, and I'll talk to the owners, and yeah, so that's how it happens. But, you know, the same thing in dreams. Like I've got a picture here. I'll take you through and show you. I've got a picture here that I did of before my first granddaughter was born. And I rang my son and I said, oh, I had a dream, and your daughter came to visit me. And he said, oh, so I'm having a daughter? And I'm, yeah. And hang on, I'll just turn it around. I don't know if I can turn the screen right now. I can't. So anyway, can you see that there?
Yeah. Did you paint that?
Yeah.
Wow, it's fantastic.
So, thank you. So, like, yeah, so I woke up and I'd had this dream, and I said, yeah, your daughter came and talked to me. And he was like, okay. And I said, yeah. So she was telling me that she's really excited to come, and she just wants a really peaceful life. Like, she just wants, you know, her hard life is so hard, and it made me feel like, you know, and I said, I felt like she was Tibetan or something, and it was just this life of slavery and hardship and being unable to think and unable to, and we went through all of these things that she told me, and I said, and I think they kind of call me Lala. And he went, what? And I said, I think they're going to call me Lala. And he went, no, I don't think so. And I went, why? And he goes, because this is like dumb. And I went, well, no, my brothers used to call me Lala because they couldn't say, Angela, which was my name my white mother gave me. And it was like, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. So anyway, about 2 weeks after she was born, it occurred to me, and I rang him and I said, you realize what you called your daughter? And he went, yeah. And I went, you've called her Layla. I think maybe she was saying that her name is Layla. But anyway, what had happened was I that day that I dreamt that, I painted the vision of what she showed me that she looked like. And it's amazing that, you can see similarities if you're going through lives, as she got older. But, we have experiences that are really incredible. And I just find that so many people see it as so far from themselves and so absent of themselves, that, wow, imagine if I could be like that. Imagine if I could do that. And it's like, I just want to share with people that everyone can. And, I teach people how to, and it's not some magical thing of you turn 3 times and you bow to the west and you sing this song. It's actually just about connecting. So, it's about having clear intent. And so clear intent is about clearing yourself. Yeah. And, some churches do it with prayer. Ancient cultures do it with ceremony. Reiki people do it with, their things, but it actually just brings everyone to that same clear place where you can hear. So it's only by the silence of your own soul that you can hear the voice of beasts. And how you picture it. I think that quite often we're showing it to be a being or something that we would accept and understand. But I sort of think they're quite similar things. And actually every one of your listeners can do all of this stuff and have these connections and have green dreams and have guidance and designs that come through and all sorts of stuff. So that's probably all I want to share.
Are you saying then that some entity informs you about an animal with a problem? It's not really the animal contacting you, but the entity will say, hey, this person has a dog that's sick or something.
No, I think in those cases, for me, it's the animal. So we are discussing. So I can have an animal that I'm trying to teach. So I've taught myself, for example, when I'm working with dogs, I've taught myself to actually at the same time as instructing, because instructing to them it's all in Japanese, right? We're just going blah, 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 and they'll hear a word toilet, But when I'm teaching them, and I'm also showing them the visionary in my mind. So, the last 2 weeks I've had a dog come here called Wesley, and he's sort of very testosterone-y and poking everyone and like full on and a bit out of control. And so I've been teaching him gentle, and to do that I'm at the same time picturing him being gentle and bringing his energy down, and and how he does interact. So poking them is his way that he's learned to say, hey, oi, you want to play? Hey, oi, or oi, and I'm teaching him different ways and I'm picturing at the same time, and he learns it. So for example, my cat was about to run across the road here, which is a very busy road, and as I yelled stop, I actually pictured in my mind him getting hit by a car. And he was running and he just stopped. And he stopped and he stood there for about 10 seconds and then he turned around and walked back. So, it's that's often how you communicate with animals. So, if you teach yourself those sort of skills to be able to use both parts of your mind at the same time, you'll start developing, an easier way to communicate and one that they can see. Because I do believe that animals and a lot of beings, see things. The way they learn is probably not what we learn, and we're only using, a tenth of our brain. And so if we're teaching ourselves to communicate not just with our words, but with every part of ourselves, then we'll get the same back. So I get pictures from dogs, I get pictures from horses, and that sort of thing. And I've actually just had an experience with my, I've got a little granddaughter, which is why I've moved to Canberra. She's got brain cancer, and she had it 13 months, and she's a non-verbal autistic now because of all of the operations and things. And I went to stay with them the other weekend, and I took her out on her bike, which is something she does, where she's actually connected in. And I came back and I was laughing with my son. I'm going, yeah, that was fun. I said, it's 36 degrees and I'm pushing her bike up the hill to get her home. And, she's pulling on the brakes and standing on the brakes, and, that's hilarious. She's just laughing. And he said, you what? And I said, well, she's playing with the brakes. He said, sorry, she was using the brakes. And I went, yeah, I was showing her how to use the brakes. And, then she just thought it was hilarious to, stop Granny going up the hill. And he said, okay, for 2 years, we have been trying to teach her to use the brakes. She's got no idea. And then when she had a shower, I said, okay, you wash yourself now, and here's the cloth, and here's the soap, and so she washed herself, and he was like, okay, she's never done that. She'll just throw the cloth back at you. And and so there were several things like this, and I came home and I was really thinking about it, and I was thinking, I think that's because of the way I communicate. So then there's been a question in my mind lately of like, do autistic children learn the same way as the animals that I work with?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Is that the difference, that because I habitually communicate and think like that she's actually getting it in? So yeah, it's a question I've just recently asked, and I think it'd be an amazing study.
It would be. Yeah, that's fantastic. That is amazing. I was trying to locate your video while you were talking, and for people to see, and I just can't find it. I mean, it's just, I just Googled it, actually. JeffMara, Angie Briars. I wish I could know which one it was, but.
Well, hang on, I'll have a quick look.
Maybe if you can find it, you can put it. Are you watching us on? If you go to the YouTube channel, you can see it like where everybody's there watching, and you can watch it too. And maybe you can put a link to it in the chat.
Yeah. So there's a short one there. There's a short, brief one. Isn't the other one showing up? That's interesting.
And it'd be cool for people to see. Angii, right? BRYERS.
ANJ, J for John.
Oh, ANJIIBRYERS.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I was spelling it wrong when I would just. Oh, there you are. All right, so hers is. The title is "She Learned About Jesus During Her Near-Death Experience." That's the title.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty amazing.
And let me see if I can find the number. What number? I guess that was before I started numbering them, so I don't have the number there. I have a date. It was posted in 2021. It's in April of 2021, so that's 2 years ago.
Wow.
And so if you if you just search ANJII Briars, BRYERS, and then JeffMara, you should be able to find it. And like I said, she learned about Jesus during her near-death experience. And maybe you guys can check it out. I think you'll like it. Angie, I have to run. I usually give people about 15 minutes, and I've got 5 people in the waiting room. So it's great catching up.
Helpful to someone.
It's great catching up.
Helpful to someone.
Come by and see us again.
I will. Okay.
All right, you take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Don't report. And Raphael is next.
He's right here.
My sound or the music? I turn the music down now.
Oh man!
And I didn't get to give her a round of applause. So there she is.
There we go.
All right, Jack found it. It's 170. 2 years ago, we were at 170, and here we are 2 years later, more like 750. That's amazing how many podcasts. Raphael, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but can you hear me and see me?
I hear you. I don't see you. For some reason, your camera is black. Do you have your camera covered with something?
No.
You're in the black void. I'm sorry, but you are in. You're there. You need to.
That's normal.
Hold on, let's
I think you're having an NDE right now or something. You're on the other side in the black void.
That's crazy.
We had that on earlier.
Let's see, hold on. Choose virtual background. No, choose video filter. Video settings, maybe?
I just see a black screen. So we're connected, both video and audio.
Okay, hold on. We're trying to figure it out.
While you're figuring it out, I want to let people know that Michael Suarez is back. He was here last week, and Michael is here to hear your dream. If somebody wants to come on with Michael and share your dream and have your dream analyzed, we can do it here in real time. So this is your chance. You can see there's Michael Suarez. And that gives you a few minutes here to try to get in. Are you still having trouble? Well, I guess you are, because my screen's black.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's weird.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. Why don't I do this? I'm going to put you in the waiting room, and then I'm not kicking you out. And then maybe you can figure it out, and I'll bring you back.
Okay, sounds good, Jeff.
All right.
Thank you.
Let me see. Put into waiting room. And then we'll go with Nikki. And see who Nikki is. And what's going on. And we'll put ask to start video. Yeah, that elephant dream probably would have been a good one. I agree, Tanya. And Soren has a dream. Maybe you want to pop in, Soren. All right. Nikki, do you hear me? Nikki, it looks like she has our audio on. Let's see if we can start the video. All right, so while we're waiting for Nikki, I had a podcast that I recorded today with a guy who says that we're coming to the end, or basically at the end of the simulation. So for those of you that are regulars, you know we've done a handful of videos on living in a simulation, living in a hologram, living like the Matrix. And he says that we are in the end of it. And he said the end basically is going to be somewhere around 2029 to 2032. That's going to be the end. It's like the end of the game. The game is over. And I asked him, is that why 8 billion people are here? To witness the end of the game, basically. And I think he agreed with that. And, maybe that's what people are calling the ascension. And basically it's going to be paradise on earth. So I hope you will enjoy that podcast. I'll be posting that one on Monday. All right, Nikki, I'm going to also put you back into the waiting room. I'm not kicking you out. And let's bring Michael and Soren on. And we can see if Michael can, in real time, dream detect or be a dream detective. And let's see him analyze Soren's dream. All right, Nikki, I'm going to also put you... All right, whoever I'm hearing, if that's you, Michael, be sure to mute the YouTube. And let's bring Michael and...
Yes.
Or if that's you, Soren. I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah. Are we off? We good now?
I hear you. All right, okay, and now we got Soren here. All right, here we go. Cool.
So, but Jeff, can I just say quickly, when I called, I called to solve the, or I'll say solve, interpret the elephant dream
Mm-hmm.
the gentleman just had.
Okay.
So if I can try to do that relatively quickly.
Okay. Sure.
So that was a few minutes ago, right? And hi, good evening to everybody. So we're talking about my belief is that all dreams have a meaning. The meaning is communicated through symbology. That is our true language, the language of imagination. So this gentleman came on a bit earlier, and he said that he had this dream involving elephants. Now, the elephants, in both spiritually and just in his mind, are the symbol of power. Right. So this dream is about how he relates to power. There's a shift in it from feeling overwhelmed by it, and I'm going to explain this in detail, to feeling that it is even bowing to him. If you remember, he made that little gesture where at the end of the dream, the elephant kind of, it's not bowing, it's sort of like understanding your role. So he starts off in a very raw state. He said he was like in a loincloth, right? This is a ritual of his growth. Okay, that's but again, it's a ritual of the most real thing when things are intense, when you're in the raw nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in that case, when you're thinking like that, which is a state of consciousness, then the nature and the greatness of it, which is represented by the elephant, is coming at you in all directions. Again, every detail counts. So when there's an elephant in front of him and an elephant behind him, that means you're feeling the pressure of things you're worried about or things you're regretting, right? You're not in the present. Now, what happens is he has this spiritual experience where he changes how he's thinking about the whole situation. And once he had that, now this is so wonderful. It changed his energy in his outer life, is what he said. You see, he changed from having a fearful, animalistic relationship with the power of nature to having a mutual, harmonious. And when he woke up, he said, like in the next 3 days, he said, which is a spiritual period, for the next 3 days, he had this incredible calm. And you see how the symbology is there?
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating. Yeah, I totally didn't think about it that way.
Yeah.
That's why you're the detective and why we have you here.
I am the dream detective. That's great. Jeff, it has been, by the way, a blessing to be on your show. I have international clients now. It's really been wonderful.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, Soren, let's hear about your dream.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Hi, Michael. I saw you last week and I pledged to myself that I would come on, that I would have a dream. So I had 3 and I don't know which one to tell you. Do you want me to? I can't hear Michael.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
there
listening.
you are. I had one where I was riding a bus in Moscow with Raskolnikov.
Oh, wow.
I had one where I was going to the Academy Awards in a dress that I made. And then I had another one where I was teaching a class and went back to a hotel and found my dead husband. But he was alive. So which one should I tell you?
Let's start with the first one.
Oh,
so you can just
okay. Raskolnikov. Yeah. Okay. So I'm in Moscow and I'm on a bus and I happen to be riding in the back of the bus with Raskolnikov. You know who he is. He's Dostoevsky's character in Crime and Punishment.
Yeah, it's actually just, I read it, so yes.
Yeah. And of course he's guilty of murder. And he was very dour, as he was in the whole beginning of the book. He was not happy. He was not smiling. He was thin. And we got off the bus and went into a cafe. And it was very crowded and it was very plain and stark and not attractive, very Moscow-like. And they sat us down at the back of the cafe, facing these 3 guys who were right there, so we didn't have a private place or anything. So I went, ooh, and I found us a better booth up here, perpendicular. And I said, this is the place to sit, if you ever have to come to this cafe. And I don't remember that we ate anything. We got back on the bus and I noticed that you could go in the back part of the bus and pick up what do they call them? I wrote it down here now. I'm not oh yeah. Kalashnikov. Is that the big automatic gun?
Okay.
Yes.
If you wanted one. So I went and got one, and once you had one, you were stuck with it. You couldn't get rid of it. So there I was on a bus with Raskolnikov with an automatic rifle, and I didn't have to use it, and he just grunted, and then everything switched, and I was standing in front of my oven, in front of my place where I toast my toast. And I put in 4 pieces of toast, and then a really thin athletic girlfriend of mine put in 4 little tiny crumbs of bread, and I felt guilty because she would see that I was eating 4 whole slices and she was eating 4 crumbs. And that's the dream.
Okay. Well, that's fairly that's interesting. Now, so context for what we're doing, right, and what we're going to do. My contention, and actually I would say I have proven this repeatedly, is in hundreds of cases that dreams seem very odd and strange to us. And they are. Even right now, I'm like, whoa, what is that, right? The thing is, it's a language. Our language is our imagination, and it is so genius that it expresses itself using symbology perfectly. It's like a professor inside of us of symbology. That's why we wake up and we're like, whoa, what did that mean? However, like any good professor, first of all, we know the language, and so when we press into it and pay attention to the professor, we can figure it out. That's kind of what I do as a facilitative process. Now, I don't know, again, everything. And by the way, in that dream, we would be taking apart a lot, right? Because every detail counts. That's one of the principles I repeat. Everything counts. Left hand, right hand, all that sort of thing. That said, I'm going to give you, I definitely began to get a clear sense of what this was about. Okay. And the thing I like to say about dream interpretation is we're following clues, just like Sherlock Holmes. He doesn't need to prove it. He's only pointing it out, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm pointing it out. So the first thing is we start in this like foreign country. That would mean that you feel like you're in a foreign place in that point in your life. Okay, like you feel a little bit alienated, like you're not home. Okay, within that state, which is a state of stress, you're moving from one place to another. That's why you're on a bus. Okay, right? So it's about this sort of shifting that's going on that you don't feel comfortable with. Now, oh my gosh, by the way, I'm so grateful. How awesome that like Crime and Punishment was one of my favorite books as a kid, oddly. Right, so I know who Raskolnikov is. That's not that. Come on, that's the divine folk, right? Thank you, Jeff, for putting all this together. Because I love that character. And as you were talking, I was thinking, what does that character represent as a symbol? Yeah. Right. This is the whole thing of Crime and Punishment. So unsurprisingly, folks, you will understand. This is what I'm getting, sis. That you are riding with guilt. You feel me? Right? He's guilty. Okay, so you're taking a ride, doing a transition that involves guilt, like maybe feeling guilty of something, right? Now, you said what happens after you get, remind me what happens after you get off the bus?
We went to a cafe.
Yes. And actually, we can try to go back to the cafe. But what jumped out at me is the ending, right? Because you go back to getting on the bus. All right.
We return to the bus. Yes.
Yes. That part when you return to the bus. Now, you say the statement. So you begin to. I want to see the relationship between the beginning and the end, so we can see how the whole thing works together. You say you had this big gun, but you didn't have to use it. This means that you had the experience of like, okay, I could correct that person. I could discipline, even like, okay, something a little harsher because it's the guns, right? But in other words, it's like, I have the power, but I'm not going to use it.
I wasn't going to use it against him. I felt that he was protecting me. I had it for other people.
Yes. So that is the experience of having like an advantage or knowing something, right? And then not using it, like, oh, I know about what they did or something like that. And if you, for example, knew something about somebody and it was a very big thing, you would consider it a weapon, right? Like a potential weapon, you see? And then you not using it is saying like, is kind of, is again, holding back with, I'm not sure how I want to say it, but yeah, you get the idea. I have the power to do this, but I'm not doing this. That's at play here. So this is
in fact, if I might say, I had the feeling that if you picked up one of these guns, you were stuck with it. You couldn't get rid of it.
Okay. So that means, you know, doing a certain type of action, which we would think of as crossing the line, so that you can't give it back. That's sort of that idea. I do want to address, just as all of us, address what when we think about what this dream is about. How would we know where it wouldn't be Michael just saying a thing? We would look at it and we would be like, where does it start? When it starts with the fact that you're in a foreign state, that's telling you, that's how these things speak. Like, you feel you're in a foreign or alien state. When it's telling you that you're on a bus, all you have to do to recognize this language is be like, what would I feel like? I feel like I'm going from one place to another. I feel like I have maybe a goal that I'm going to. Now I'm being accompanied so awesomely by this particular idea of crime and punishment, which again kind of involves the idea in a more common way of guilt. In what way, I don't really know yet. This is the type of thing we talk about and get deeper and deeper into in being a dream detective. So again, it's you can see we can go into a lot of detail. Why don't you ask me another part, maybe anything else you're going to get some clarity on? I'm not sure how long we'll go.
Well, the fact that it just completely switched, but it was the same dream, and yes. I'm putting toast in the broiler at my own house. Okay.
Yes. You know what? I'm so glad. I actually wanted to go to that. Like in my head, even after I asked you, I was like, oh, I should have just gone to that. So so we're aligned. We're aligned, Soren. So when we do a transition within the same, and it's like, oh, it's the same dream. I've had this before with clients. It means we're shifting, but we're shifting to a different idea, but it's still related.
Right.
Okay. So whatever happened in the first state where you felt you were in an alien place, right? Like you felt like I'm in a foreign place. At the end with the whole gun thing, you resolve that. That is what allowed you to feel like the next state, which is, I feel like I'm back home in a very familiar place, creating my life, which is what you're cooking, all like the toast and stuff like that, right? You see that?
I kind of do, yeah.
It's what I'm seeing as I'm trying to describe it is a relationship between, at the end, the sort of revelation that you get at the end of the first part of the dream is changes your mind to feel like, I'm comfortable again, right? So when you feel comfortable is when you feel home after you've been in this foreign country.
Okay. I'm sorry, I had my computer all screwed up, so I was looking at you and myself with the time delay, and that didn't help.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's not your fault. It was my fault.
It made sense to me, though, what he said, that you went from this transition of being in a foreign, unknown place to when you went back home, it was resolved, and now you're back at peace.
Yeah,
that's kind of what.
But what was it that was resolved? I didn't really want to be there. I didn't like him. This was before he got sent to Siberia, at which point he becomes a very likable character, as you know, in the last 5 pages of the book. But I didn't like him. He was in his awful stage. And yet I turned to him knowing that I wouldn't have to use the rifle on him, that I had it somehow maybe given by him to me in case I had to use it against somebody else. I don't know. So he was a duplicitous character. I didn't like him, but I knew he wasn't going to hurt me.
Yes.
Is it possible
Well,
that he was a symbol for her to help her resolve her other problems? Possibly using a method that she can't go back to.
Well, yes, because look, when we're thinking about dreams, we have to say this, right? We have to return to the common kid thing. Like, who created that, right? The person themselves. So it's an energy that's going on within them. So when someone is accompanying you in a dream, that means there's a particular type of energy that is accompanying you in your life. Like if it was a stressful character, if it was, in this particular character had had particularly defining characteristics.
Yeah.
So the idea, again, I just want to address this real quick, is I would almost call this the Raskolnikov dream.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to understand the heart of what's going on in this dream, is that the whatever you know, and you and I know about that character, what he went through, the energy that was inside of his soul, that's accompanying you. That was accompanying you at some point. Because again, right, I'm actually just saying what happened. Notice that he's accompanying you. You're on the bus with him. This is an energy. And then what Jeff also was pointing out is that at the end, it's almost like you separate from that energy and then you're back home. Right? That's the shift that happens. So that part is representing like the end of that conflict state, the end of being in the foreign state. Like if I finally came home on vacation.
Yeah.
So I will say one other thing, Jeff. So when we do these, this is what I'm doing is I'm addressing the general big symbols, but every detail, that's what's amazing about human beings. Every detail, the toast, how many pieces of toast it was, all of it is deeply meaningful.
Right. And I was going to say that just doing this quickly from what we did here may not give it, it's not giving you a complete story of what we're doing because you don't have access to all the information.
Yeah, and then also I have my feelings about Raskolnikov. I reread the book not too long ago, and I was shocked to realize that he turned to Christ.
Yes.
He finally went along with his girlfriend Sonia, and he went to Siberia, and he turned to Christ. You have like 600 pages, and then 2 pages he's saved.
This was Jeff. And Jeff and Soren, I just want to quickly say one other thing from my heart. I'm so grateful to have participated in this. Like, that's not an accident. Like I said, it's maybe strange, Puerto Rican dude from New York, but I fell in love with that book.
Yeah.
Right. I fell in love with Dostoevsky one summer, and I read it, and I sort of like just got really into the character. So this is not an accident. Right?
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, and I feel that I've done the same thing as Raskolnikov, minus the murder.
Yes, thank you for that.
But I guess maybe that was connected to the guns, because I was poo-pooing everything like he was. I'm a proud atheist, and then I went, oh.
Well, guys, thank you so much for participating in this. I appreciate you both. I need to move on to the next person, but thanks again and have a great weekend.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you. And that is for both of them. Thank you for that. That was cool. Before I bring on the next person, I'll just put admit. I want to say thank you to Tristan Early. And let's see what Tristan Early. Well, there's first of all, Shira, growth is in the dirt. Thank you for that, Shira, very much. And Tristan, love and light to everyone. Thank you for that, Tristan. All right, hello.
Can you hear me?
I can. Welcome back.
Perfect. I wanted to use my phone this time and not my tablet because you can at least see me. My tablet is so dark for some reason. I'm in the same room in the same spot.
Wow.
So I'm calling back this week from my talk that I had last week with you about my heaven experience.
Yeah. All right. So, unfortunately, I can't remember your experience just because I talk to so many people all the time.
That's okay. I never forget it. So anyways, what ended up happening is I was living in a group home with some girls because I went through a traumatic domestic violence situation. I was pregnant at the time, so it was a home for pregnant girls, and they had me kind of in hiding, I guess you could say. And so I'm at this home and I go into my room, and the thing is I just want to explain this. I have, at that point in time, I had been able to, I didn't know that it was called moving into other realms or moving into other dimensions as of like 4 months ago. I just found NDEs and it's blown my mind. And how I would explain it is I could leave the room. That's how I explain it. I can be sitting here and I can just leave the room and I won't be in this area at all anymore. My body will, but I won't.
Okay, so you're having an OBE then?
Well, I mean, no, because I guess kind of, but I don't feel it like how I did when I was a kid. When I was a kid, it scared me and I would actually feel my body come out and it would be a jolt and it was really scary, and then I'd also feel my body go back in, which would be scary. So after doing it so many times, like throughout my childhood, I could just leave the room. That's the only way I can explain it. I could leave the room. I did not know what was going on around me. Okay, so in this experience, I went into the room of the house that I was at, and all I did was lay down and I just started to think about things. And when I started to think about things, instantly I left. Okay. So when I left, I was in a place that the only way that I can explain it in human words is to say that it was heaven. Okay. So when I was there, I had 2 people walking with me. And at that time, the 2 people, like, I don't know who they were. I didn't care who they were. I was just so amazed with everything that I was seeing. Like, there was a big, beautiful, I can't even remember so much about the building because I never even made it to the building, but there was a big, beautiful building off to the right of the distance. But where I was at, the feeling of it was so overwhelming. Like it was so, like, every good feeling that you could ever feel in your life 100 times better. Like it was so extreme, like your senses, like everything felt it was such a sensitive thing. And in the place that I was at, it was all light. It was all light, where the light consumed everything. But there was also a road that we were walking on, and I was walking with these 2 people, 2 male figures, and I was just observing my whole atmosphere. My whole atmosphere was so beautiful. Like the flowers, like I was telling you about the flowers. That's one of the biggest things that I could not get enough of, was the flowers. The flowers were so beautiful. And I know that I said last time that, there was a tune, like music in the air, but there was like no radio or nothing around making the tune. And when I think about it now, I'm thinking maybe the music was coming from the flowers, because the flowers were so mesmerizing to me. Like I can't even explain the flowers. They were so translucent. The colors of the flowers were colors that you can't even invent here on Earth. You'll never see them here. The trees were beautiful, even though I was more focused on the flowers. The grass was beautiful, but all I could focus on was the flowers. All I could focus on was the smell. Like there was a smell that was the aroma was like nothing that I've ever smelt here. So I can't even explain the aroma, just the smell, like every sense that you have in your body. Well, maybe you don't have it in your body on Earth. It's probably not senses that you have on Earth. So I can't even compare that. But everything in your body is so, like, hundreds of times more sensing what's going on around you.
So how did this experience change your life?
Oh, it changed me. Like, from that day on, I was out of control. That's all I can say. I went into that experience and they did not even have to, as beautiful as it was, as amazing as it was, as powerful as that experience was, I could not wait to get back to tell everyone. So when I came back, like, at first I couldn't talk. Like, I was literally in a bubble of light. That's the only way that I can explain it. I was in this bubble of light, and even though the house had other girls there that had went through similar situations, I couldn't speak for at least 3 hours. I'm putting a time frame on it, but I don't know how many hours it was. I don't know how long it was, but while I was illuminating, that's the only way I can explain it, is I was illuminated. I couldn't speak. So it wasn't until that went away, the illumination went away, the experience didn't go away, only the illumination. So once that went away, I was able to speak, and I couldn't keep my mouth shut. Like, it was instantaneously, I have to tell everybody, you know what I mean? And so of course I'm trying to tell the girls what happened to me. I'm trying to tell the it's called the house mom of the house. I tried to tell her my experience. Once I got graduated out of there and was I was able to go into my house, my home. Everybody in my life that I knew, everybody I told. And to be honest with you, everybody cut me out of their life.
That's terrible.
They all cut me out of their life. They could not, there is no way that anybody can ever explain an experience like that. And a person that has never witnessed or experienced something like that could ever comprehend. They cannot comprehend it. It doesn't matter how you tell it, how you know, how real it sounds coming out of your mouth. No matter what, a person cannot experience that kind of an experience unless they go through that kind of experience themselves. Right. And the only thing that I can find that is as closest to it, and I'm so thankful that I found NDEs, because every single person's experience that I see, because I've been through multiple different experiences, that I'm very in tune to the light, and I'm very in tune to the darkness. Like, I'm calling again next Saturday because I want to tell you about because last week I told you about the being that was coming in my room as a kid, and that was a pretty significant thing that I never forgot. And one thing that is the biggest thing to me is, because I've left this realm, it's called realm and not the room anymore, because I'm learning all these lingos now. Once I learned how to leave the realm, and once I began to have like those, of course, at 5 years old, I didn't remember, or not that I didn't remember, I didn't realize what was happening to me because I was only 5. I just knew that it was really scary, but it was wonderful once I got out. And but I knew that this wasn't my home. Like, I have 8 children. I have told them their whole entire life, every single one of them, this isn't our home. Like, anybody that I could tell it to without being shot down, like, the only people that I eventually was able to trust was my children. I knew that my children would listen to me like little ducks with a mama duck, you know what I mean? So I would tell them all kinds of spiritual experiences. But I knew that this wasn't my home. So when I was there in the heaven, I knew that that was home. I knew that that was home. So, you know, one of my biggest things that I was telling people is this is only temporary here. You guys don't understand. This is only temporary. Our home is somewhere else, you know? And it's really been such an awkward experience for me because I know this isn't my home. And I know that, you know, I have a problem with being able to stay like in this realm and function properly. You know what I mean? Like all I want to do, even still to this day, I'm 48 years old. That happened when I was 24. At 48 years old, I still want to tell everybody what I have experienced, even just since then, all the experiences that I have had that have just, you know, because it got to a point where I wasn't even looking, like, I don't have to meditate. I've never meditated in my life. I mean, I don't even know how to do that. When I'm concentrating, I mean, I guess it's a type of meditation. I just don't know that I'm meditating, but I can just put my focus on something and I can just leave the room.
Right. Well, you know, a lot of NDEers will call that place home. And to me, it's like you've had an NDE without the D.
Yeah, like that's why I said NDEs are the closest thing, because there is a little bit in every single person's NDE that I can say I've experienced.
Right.
You know, a piece here, a piece here, a piece here. I'm like, yes. And I know that these people are telling the truth because I've seen it for myself. I know what they're saying. I've seen it for myself and they're telling the truth. You know what I mean?
Well, you're in the right place. You're in the right place to come and tell, because this is where we talk about it all the time.
Right.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to cut you off. I've got to go to the next person, but we'll see you next week.
Yep, next week. And I'm going to tell you about a dark experience that I just recently had.
All right. Thanks for coming. Have a great weekend.
Yep, you too. Have a good night.
All right, bye-bye. All right. Next up is the one and only Mr. Cake. Where is Mr. Cake? He's going to be here shortly. We'll give him some introduction. There he is.
Well, hello, everyone.
Hello there.
You all.
So wonderful to have you back, Stephen. What is new in your life?
Well, I've been channeling chakra balls.
You're channeling chakra balls or juggling?
Well, I can do whatever. That's the spirits for me. All right. God said not to do too much juggling, but do what we can. Yeah.
I'm trying to put on some music.
Hey, everybody, how you doing out there?
Those are pretty cool balls. Where did you get those?
I just bought them. In the dark balls.
Now can you do impressions while juggling?
What would you like to hear, darling? It's wonderful out there, isn't it? We're gonna be doing something very big, very loud.
That was some tremendous juggling.
Yeah, I like
it was
to say
tremendous.
Yeah, I was pretty good before, but God just upped the skills on me on that one. They gave me catching, throwing movements. So
that's cool. That's awesome. Are you still posting your Walking with God videos?
Yes, we're walking and talking with God. Yeah, I just did one today. And see, I kind of explained this as I went through an enlightenment process, and so there was all these different phases, and one of them. So God's gonna shut me. They don't want me talking about certain things. One of the things they do is they correct my language, or they can just shut me off. And I mention this because when I go on to a podcast like this, they kind of have a knob. I say they got a kind of control system on me, what I can say and what I can't say. But let's see if they let me. I always say, let's see if they'll let me talk about dreams. Is they change my dreams and they give me dream interpretations.
Oh,
But they
cool.
also say my dreams are kind of dumb.
You know,
Like,
I saw a comment of yours on one of my recent videos, and I'm not sure if it. Did you say that you are a walk-in?
Christopher Walken, no, not Walken. But I have a kind of an explanation. So they said we're going to give you the belief system that is this that would represent the truth. They said there's no true because I asked what's the correct belief system. He said there is no correct belief system. You just believe what you believe.
Now, Amy said that you could easily play Jim Carrey in a movie. Can you do any Jim Carrey parts?
Alrighty then.
There you go.
I don't know if I have an impression of him.
You know,
You
because
know what I mean? I'll do something no special. You know, you're gonna like it. Whatever I want to do, you're gonna like it.
basically doing an impression of him is doing him doing an impression of somebody else.
Oh, hey, maybe we can get Robin Williams on here. Ooh, or Jeff Goldblum. I like that guy. I liked his Danish yard. That was fun. Or Sean Connery. Let me tell you something very special. Or bananas. Liam Neeson taught me how to talk to bananas. The guy was. I know you like Donald Trump. We're coming back, number one. Number one, folks. We're gonna do it.
Do you ever add the hand gestures too?
I'm holding the phone, so.
Oh, okay. Makes it more
Yeah, at
difficult.
least I could get some. My computer's not even. It's like the internet's so bad over there.
So
at this place I live at, yeah, God says, get the heck out of here. They said, just be a normal guy. They said, we don't want you to be the God talker. We don't want you to be. They said, just be a normal guy. Just move out, get a life, get a job, whatever.
Now, for people that are curious, Steven's web YouTube channel is called Steven Cake. With that's a KAAKE, right?
Yes, darling, it's wonderful.
And he posts all types of content: walking with God, juggling, impressions, dancing, and what else?
I would love to do skits. I'm always thinking about skits.
Are you a philosophical entertainer or a spiritual entertainer?
Yeah, God said I'm a mind juggler. So
a mind juggler. Wow, that's a good one.
So many different things. Yeah.
Well, so far
I say they're yammering down on me all the time. They just, God won't leave me alone. It's just, yep. I said, leave me alone. I'm trying to concentrate here.
Oh, maybe this was it. Someone posted this in the chat. Maybe instead of saying you're a walk-in, is it possible that you've been channeling?
It is channeling in a way, yeah, because it's like God can just take over. So we're going to have God take over now. So when I try to do comedy, God said, I'm going to do comedy for you. And I'm going to do it in this voice. And I'm going to be very nasty and mean. See, I go like, I will not move when flame wreath is cast or the rain blows up. They just kind of take me over on that one.
I was wondering if God was going to take over, but it looks like he is now.
Yeah, I say it's like it's not an entity. It's not like there's because I usually say they, because it's like it's multiple different voices, and they're usually just correcting me. But they'll have fun with me too. And I say you can't win a debate with God, but they don't hold a grudge. so sometimes they'll let me.
I'm assuming that you don't believe then that we are all God, all pieces of God, do you?
So what they tell me is that there's just belief systems. You believe what you believe and you just live. They said there's no death. You just live. That's it. That's what they tell me.
But is there like one real or ultimate truth? Doesn't matter what you believe, there is still one truth.
Well, they said it's about doing what you want. So it's like, what do you want to do? Because they don't want me to just sit there. Because I say I'm wasting my life. And they said, no, you're just not doing what you want. They always make it really simple for me. They keep it really simple.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they said, like, you're not going to find the truth. I thought there's truth out there. They don't even like me talking about. I'll just I'll dedicate my life and I'll find the truth. But they said, people just believe what they believe. So, but
Hmm.
they said, do the things that you want to do that benefit you.
Have you figured out what you want to do so you can actually start doing it?
Well, they say they know, but they said basically I can't. You can't always get what you want, but if you
Hmm.
try sometime, like that, man, you know what I'm talking about. That's what they do.
Hmm.
So
All
we
right.
can't always get what we want. So, see, they don't like my analogy. I feel like overwhelmed with all my problems. I know you can't tell, but I see they won't even let me say it. But let's just say I felt overwhelmed, and I was hoping people would help me in life, and no one's done anything. I say my joke is they're giving her all she's got, Captain. Like they're giving me on my end what they can do over here, but they say we can't make people care. We can't make them do what's right. We can't make them help because they're just living their lives.
Hmm.
They're not begging God. They're not on their hands and knees, folks. They gotta get down and start begging God, please get me back in office. Gotta do it.
So, do you think then that praying is a waste of time?
No, you should do it if it makes you happy. That's what because I asked about that. When I'm talking to God, they said just ask us. I don't know, because it's different if you're talking to someone versus praying. Because praying is like I always thought God was out there. Like they say, God hear a prayer. If God is in you, not only do they hear your prayer, but they know what you're thinking. I say it's kind of like they're the background to reality. They're like your background thoughts. It's that's why a lot of people think we're in a matrix or a simulation or something like that, or something's going on because uh, there's no off switch to your mind. There's no off switch to a belief system. You just got to go to a different belief system. You got to go to something.
Have you considered changing your belief systems?
Well, um, uh, I keep, I say this all the time. I was so stupid for believing that. And they said, no, that's what you believed. So they don't have a combination for any belief system, different belief systems. It's just, they said, we give what people want. So I want my analogy is like I get to in Wizard of Oz, they get to the end and there's a big guy talking. That's like God, and I pull back the curtain and there's just a guy there. And they said no, it's more like you pull back the curtain and no one's there. There's no one behind the wheel. There's no one. There's no entity running this thing. It's just happening.
Do you think that though, once you discover that, do you also discover that you have all the power?
um, well, see, I think it's all about what people want because that's what it always comes back down to. What do you want? So if you're wanting the truth, like I was, I say reality manifests, or it's somehow it's not a cause. It's not like this, because they say does prayer happen like that? It's not based off a causal link. So that's why that's why it's so hard to figure out reality. People are always trying to figure out because it's not a this causes that type of thing. Like you don't know what's going to happen.
Hmm.
People get spontaneous healings. They get I say some people are born with gifts, and then some people get them later in life. And like how can you get an injury? I never understood that, a brain injury, and then all of a sudden your memory's good or you're good at painting or something like that. Because I think there's a supernatural element because they made they're changing me now. They're changing me now. I love you so much. See, now we're just gonna look over here. Hi, God. There he goes. Bye, bye, God. See, this is what they do. I used to think a spirit was with me. Now they're like, come on, can we look forward? Oh, there we go.
So
Yeah.
why I don't completely understand why are they limiting or blocking you when that
Because
happens?
they want me to be a normal person, Jeff. But I just keep saying I'm just gonna do what I want, and I just go on the podcast and I just make my stupid little videos and stuff like that. Because it's like they know what's best for us,
Hmm.
but people are making. They gave me a dream about this. I was golfing and I hit my shot backwards. I don't think I talked about my dreams too much. I hit my shot backwards in golf, and I saw someone else hit theirs over a hill into the water. And then the interpretation was, I want to go back to go forward in life. And they said other people are making bad decisions and wrecking their lives. Like I can still go forward in life. My life's not wrecked. So
you still have a chance.
Well, they said there's no death, so you don't got to worry about that. That's one thing they say for sure in the NDAs is don't worry about your death. Do not worry about that.
Right. Well, Stephen, I've got to do what I've got to do.
You got to do what you got to do, man. See you later, though.
Stephen, thank you, brother, for coming in
you
and
all.
visiting with us. We
God
love
bless.
you. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you all. You're all wonderful to me.
All right, Stephen, God bless you and have a good night. Oh, he's already gone. I didn't get to play him his applause. Let's play. Thank you, Stephen. All right, so next up is iPhone. I think iPhone was here earlier. We'll see for sure. I think someone was here that was just called iPhone. Although maybe many iPhones can just appear as iPhone. Maybe they don't, I don't know why that would come in as just iPhone. It's a good question. All right, so while we're waiting on iPhone, tomorrow's podcast is with Robert Schwartz. He's a pretty popular guy out there, and we talked about pre-birth planning. And we went pretty deep into pre-birth planning and why we do it and what's happening and what's going on. So if you're into pre-birth planning, I think you'll enjoy this video. Hello? All right, there you are.
How's it going?
Great, you got it to work.
Well, we're on Linda's phone, because we couldn't get it to work on my laptop, so we were like, we gave up. It wasn't working.
You should go the light over here.
Oh, nice. It's cold. You're in San Diego. It shouldn't be cold out there.
Oh,
it's supposed to be 70 degrees year round.
I know.
It's a little
in
cold.
The 50s.
So what are you guys up to this weekend?
Well,
a lot. Yeah.
A lot.
We're planning for our move back to Sweden.
Oh, you're gonna. So now, wow. Now you're moving. Are you guys married, or have you?
Not yet.
Not yet. Are you going? Are you going to propose to her live on the podcast? That's the question. She looks like she's up for it.
Yeah. We'll be in the castle and then we'll do it live.
All right. When you propose, that would be a first, is to have you do a live proposal here with all of us.
Oh my God.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah. Sounds good there.
That would be fun.
Anyway.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
So what do you?
I'll let you take over, okay?
And do you have anything new to share with us?
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk a little bit about. I wanted to talk a little more about the dimensions, and as far as like just to tell people about my personal understanding, of how I've experienced the dimensions when I had my NDE. And like I've mentioned before, being able to see the live review, the ripple effect, and all your lives, being happening at the same time, the parallel lives and all this stuff. And then I realized that the different dimensions, the different dimensions are just different levels of growth of the souls. They keep ascending as they keep evolving and growing. And so from my personal understanding and again, it's like a lot of people talk about it, it's like scratching the surface from all of this. But from my personal understanding is that when people actually have an NDE, it's actually they're having an access to the fourth dimension. That for me and my understanding. So it's like in the fourth dimension, it's where there's the higher level of consciousness where people are able to see the whole matrix of the life review of the life, and then they're able to see they're able to understand then there's parallel lives that are happening. So that's more like the fourth dimension. So being able to see the life review, the ripple effect, and then being able to understand that time is simultaneously, and that all the lifetimes are really happening at the same time. So that's more in the fourth dimension of level of consciousness, where the soul evolves to that level. It's like kind of like going to school, like elementary, junior high, high school. So that's kind of like the fourth. It's kind of like understanding that this is all an illusion. It's all simulation, and that we keep coming down to just to learn the lessons, and until that the objective is sort of to complete the whole cycle, and then and sort of that's the experience on the fourth level. And then on the fifth level, or the fifth dimension, it's like becoming one with your higher self, and then that's where you start having a greater understanding that like when you see your life review, that the council of light, they're all really you, a fraction of you. So that's more on the fifth dimension. So from my understanding, that's where once you start going to the fifth dimension, you start understanding that that's all the council of lights are all really you. And then that's when you start really going deeper into the understanding that all lifetimes are really happening simultaneously. And you can, at that point, you can go to all your lifetimes and relive them, without having any attachment to any of them, and understanding that it was all for the experience, the experience of the soul, for the growth of the soul. And then you can also, at that fifth dimension, you can start expanding to the consciousness of the collective, and throughout his time and space throughout history. So let's say you wanted to go back in time to Christopher Columbus, so you can then become one with Christopher Columbus, and or anyone in throughout history. So then you start becoming the collective at the fifth dimension. You can start having that consciousness of the collective throughout time and space, and then not just on Earth, but then on different planets and different galaxies throughout the universe. So that you start expanding your consciousness at the fifth, and then once you start going into the sixth level, that's when you start coming more of a you start becoming more of a creator of you start becoming more of a creator of planets and stars and suns, and you start becoming those entities as well. So then you start evolving from the human to a multidimensional human. Then you start becoming actually like a planet or a sun or a star, and then you start having those higher level of consciousness at the sixth dimension. So it's more of a creating planet. You become like a creator of planets, and you also can choose to take those bodies or entities or vehicles, and then you start becoming a planet or a star. So that's at the sixth dimension. And then on the seventh dimension, it's more like a galactic, more of like, you can start becoming a creator of galaxies. And then at the same time, you can start becoming galaxies, you start becoming, and then you start seeing the fabric, how you as a galaxy, because I've become all these entities just for, I don't know, 5 seconds. I become a planet, I have become a sun, I have become a galaxy. And then as a galaxy, I saw how, all the stars and everything. And then I was as a galaxy, the creator of all the solar systems. And then I gave life to all the solar systems, and how everything was connected. And then you can, at that level too, you start connecting with other galaxies and start communicating with different galaxies and working. And start understanding that all galaxies are, have maybe different laws, but all along that they're all working together to help each other evolve further. So that's at the seventh dimension. And then at the eighth dimension is more like the universal consciousness. And so then you can start either become a creator again of the universe, or you can also then take that form of a universe. So at that level of consciousness, at the eighth dimension, you are the universe, and then you see yourself, and you see the creation of all the galaxies and throughout yourself, and you start seeing how everything it's a part of you, and then you see the evolution of all those galaxies, and how all those galaxies create all those planets, and how all those planets create all those beings, and how everything is used for the evolution of all those the collective of beings throughout your universe. So that's the eighth dimension, and then the ninth dimension is more the multiverse consciousness. So that's where you start becoming aware of we live in a cluster of multiverse universes, and that they're all the multiverse. Each one of those universes has different laws. So then you start becoming one with those other multiverses. So that's kind of like, in a nutshell, some of my understanding of how the dimensions sort of work. So we keep evolving in levels of consciousness from human to a multidimensional human, to a planet, a galaxy, planet or star, to a galaxy, to a universe, and to kind of like a multiverse. And that's something that kind of like my understanding.
Was it difficult to process all this after your NDE?
Oh, it took me 5 years to really.
5 years.
Yeah, I would say 5 years to really kind of like land back on Earth. I felt like I wasn't on Earth anymore. I felt like I was in space. So it took me a while to kind of like feel like I landed back on Earth in this realm, in this reality. So I mean, I was still here, and I was working in a restaurant, and I would have friends and all this stuff, and had a girlfriend and everything. But at the end, it was just like, I mean, I was so far out from the experiences that it took me 5 years to finally like, okay, I'm finally back on Earth.
Wow.
So,
Do
yeah,
you ever, let me ask you this, is a little bit off subject, but do you ever see UFOs?
I mean, I've seen multidimensional beings.
Okay.
So I've seen, like I mentioned before, like I saw 3 lion beings.
Lion. Okay.
Yeah, 3 lion beings that came. They actually opened my heart through their hearts, and they came to me and they opened my hearts, and so I feel connected to the lion beings. Like Ellen, I think she was in your show as well.
Okay.
And then she does lion magic. So then, so the lion beings are kind of like connected to me. And I think, and then also these other 3 beings that I saw that, they show me kind of like what happens after you finish the cycle of reincarnation. And I saw 3 beings of life, which are just multidimensional beings. What I believe too is that they're just a fraction of us. They're like our higher self in a higher, like, it's like me from the 8th dimension. And then those kind of, it's like seeing yourself from like, you're like in high school, and then you go see yourself when you're like in kindergarten. You see what I'm saying? So something like that. So sometimes I feel like, okay, they're probably just me, but in my higher self, and a fraction of from the higher dimensions that came to visit me. And so that's what I've seen. So there are beings, but at the end, it's like they're really you from the future or from the higher dimensions. And it's all kind of like, so that's what I've seen, so yeah.
Well, thank you for coming. I've got to run. I've got people waiting on me, and I'm almost toward the end. But thank you for making it back and coming sharing with us. I wish you guys massive success in your new castle.
I know. Thank you.
Well, we're sitting on the ground to get grounded here, so all is well.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot of projects too that we're working on.
Yeah,
so
we'll share with you
later.
as we move along.
All right. Well, keep us up to date with everything. You guys have a great rest of your weekend.
Okay, yeah, you too, Jeff.
All right.
See you later, okay?
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Susie Lenz is here, and let me give them a round of applause. Now, Susie has been here talking about her past lives, and we will see what she's got to share with us today. Hey, Susie, how's it going?
Pretty good, actually. How are you?
Great. Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
So we've been talking about all your past lives. What else? What other things paranormal have you discovered or experienced besides that?
Oh my goodness, that's a can of worms, Jeff. You could ask me any topic and I can talk about it. My whole life is pretty much supernatural, but you probably got my email. So in 2020, I started seeing a friend of mine. Her name's Sandy. And Sandy is a spiritual healer, and she works with angels, seraphic beings. And I have a pretty serious health condition, but I don't have a diagnosis. Okay. So I didn't really know who to turn to. So, I turned to my friend Sandy. Okay. And then she asked me, did I want to have a psychic surgery?
All right.
From the Arcturian beings. So hopefully people who are listening know who the Arcturians are. They're 6-dimensional extraterrestrial beings. They're very high vibrational, so you're not going to actually physically see them. They're going to be, maybe you'll feel their presence, but you're not going to see them. So here's the thing. On my right side right here, okay, is where I had all this pain, right? So, okay. So, and this is really funny because I didn't know she was going to do it this way, but she did it the way you and I are doing this now. And she told me to go in my room and turn my computer on. And she told me to lay on my bed. So I kind of had the computer facing the bed a little bit so she could see me. So this was done remotely. And so I was laying on the bed. Now, I'm the type of person, I do believe things without experience. However, when you have the experience, it magnifies it. So if you believe something and when you experience it, it just magnifies it. And so I laid on the bed, I was fully clothed. And instantly I could feel, Jeff, I couldn't see anything. That's what's so funny. I couldn't see anything, but I could physically feel two nurses, like human nurses. I could feel that they were wearing the nursing gown, the mask, the hat. And then I got scared. I said, what is this, right? I mean, I'm thinking, I said I want a psychic surgery. Was I not expecting to feel it? Well, I was feeling it. So the one nurse, she put her hands on my heart to calm me down, almost like an anesthetic or an anesthesia. And I was just like, this is real. So then they had about 2 surgeons come in and they were on my right side. So I just told myself to stay calm and just relax and just see what happens. And the next thing I know, I can actually feel the scalpel. That's what tripped me out the most. I could feel the scalpel. Now, the thing is, it didn't hurt. Thank God. It didn't hurt because I was like, and so I could feel them like making the incision. And then I'm like, okay, it wasn't too bad. It was like a little tiny little pinch, no biggie. And then it was really strange. I could feel them for like 30 minutes. They were pulling some sticky, weird, I don't know what, just some sticky, stringy stuff out of me. And I thought, what in the world is in there? So I let them do that. And then the craziest part of all was when they stitched me up.
Okay.
That was mind-boggling. I could actually feel the stitches, but it didn't hurt. It was like a little bit of a pinch, and then I could feel a little bit of a tug. So I was feeling the stitches. And then at the end, they did some extra work on me. Like your previous guest was saying something about some lions, some spiritual lions.
Right.
So that's what she brought up. Sandy said she was going to bring in these lions. And so that's fine. And that was nice. I got some lion energy. And then basically that was it. So after the surgery, it was the end of the phone call. I had a little bit of pain, not pain, I shouldn't say pain, but like a little bit of pressure for like a couple of days, maybe 4 or 5 days. But Jeff, to this day, I'm healed.
That's
that
awesome.
part of me. Yeah,
That's
that part
great.
of me is good.
And it's never come back.
No, that's the point. That's what I marvel at, because this happened to me a few years ago and it's never come back. No, I have other issues though, unfortunately, but that particular thing has never come back.
Oh, it's fantastic. That's awesome. Susie, thank you for coming and sharing with us. I really appreciate you. I'm kind of over time, so I'm sure you'll be back and you can share some more of your extraordinary experiences with us.
Sure, I sure will. Thank you for having me on again.
All right, well, thank you for coming back and have a great rest of your weekend.
You too.
I'll give you a round of applause before we go. All right, that was Susie. So let me see what else we got to go before I get going. As I said, we have Robert Schwartz that's going to be tomorrow. And if you're into pre-birth planning and the nuts and bolts of it and other stuff, we talked about pre-birth experiences and pre-birth planning. Monday night is going to be an NDE that I recorded today with a gentleman. His name is Franco Romero. And we talked about his NDE as well as about the simulation and how he believes that we're in the end of the simulation. It's almost over. It's like we've all been playing this game and the game is about to end. Some people may be calling that the ascension, but basically the end is almost up and the earth is going to be coming like paradise. So that'll be real interesting. Let's see, what else do I have coming up for you guys? Well, I've got you here. I have a gentleman that I'm going to be joining me from India. On Monday, I'll be recording and about his book and stuff. And I don't know, the thing is with this, and I can give you an interest into my life here, is since I run a daily show, I usually don't prepare for the guest until the night before. Sometimes even that morning, if I have an evening podcast, I'm preparing that morning. So, it's just, if probably the average podcaster does one a week, so they have a week to prepare. But I usually just do it, the night before or the day of, and I prepare real quickly and put it all together. On Tuesday, I'm going to be recording an NDE. On Wednesday, I'm going to have a guest I haven't had in about a year, Mr. Consiglio, about UFOs. On Thursday, I need to schedule somebody. On Friday, I'm going to be recording and talking with someone about the Matrix. And I have some more NDEs next week and other things that are happening. So that's kind of the week ahead. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. I think I said before, and I'll kind of at the beginning, in the description below, there's a link to our Discord channel. And what Discord is kind of like Facebook, but kind of not. But you can post whatever you want there. You can chat, you can video chat, you can audio chat, you can post memes. It's not really regulated except by you guys. And there's over 500 of you there. So if you want to hang out with like-minded people and chat and have fun, it's there for you. All you have to do is go to discord.com and get a free profile, and then you take that link in the description below, and then that'll get you into my server. It's what they call them. Servers are kind of like chat rooms. So feel free to take advantage of that. Also below is a link to my personal Facebook page. You're welcome to friend me. I'm accepting friends until I run out of the 5,000 that the maximum amount is. My last name is Reynolds. My dear wife's name is Mara, so that's why it's the JeffMara podcast, and she is the unseen important part of the podcast, and she does the editing. There's also a link to our JeffMara Facebook page, and there is a link to the JeffMara podcast NDE clips channel, and that's just what I do is I just clip out the beginning and the end and just give you the NDE. So for those of you who only have time to watch the NDE, which is usually about 5 to 20 minutes, that may be the place for you to watch. So that's there for you. There's a link to that. Kayla Reed, thank you so much for that super thanks. And then there's a link to my JeffMara music. And I used to produce music professionally, and I'm slowly getting back into producing maybe meditative music, maybe music combined with binaural beats. I recently bought 2 instruments, so it'll be kind of, like meditative instruments, and that's just something I'm going to be slowly working on the side, and I just kind of eventually want to get that going where I produce meditation music and maybe music with binaural beats. And I'm even considering that we've had Leslie play, and Leslie comes now maybe other weeks. So the weeks that he's not here, I might play one of my background instruments while somebody leads the meditation. And if you want to lead the meditation, like we've mostly been having Julie, but I'm open to other people leading the meditation. If you feel like you can lead a 5-minute meditation, then contact me. And I may even put something together, but I don't know how that would work out on the live stream where I play, if you guys hear, I don't know if it's almost over that song. Let me see if I can put something here. You hear this background music. Well, if I put together background binaural beats and maybe put some background binaural beats while the meditation's going, that might be really cool. The only thing is, I might have to put different beats because I have to maybe, if I bring you down into theta state, then once we're done, I want to kind of bring you back up into beta, which is kind of like what we're operating state is. I kind of have to have 2, but that's something I might tinker with there. So that's something in the future. And I think those are all the links. So if you want to join any of those, we would appreciate it. And I guess that's basically it. Leslie Kings, thank you so much for that super thanks. And it's a great reminder. Now, if you want to keep hanging out together, what I suggest is you go over to Leslie King's YouTube channel. He'll be playing music for you guys. And you can listen, you can keep chatting, and, you know, keep enjoying your time together. So on that note, I want to say from the both of us, we really appreciate you. We love you. We wish you the best, and we will see you next week.